So how do you prove that you've either changed religions or at least changed your religious views or philosophies in a way that could put you at risk in your home country? Like, look, this happens when people sometimes convert from, like, let's say a common example for asylum cases is someone comes from Iran and they convert from Islam to another religion, or they just stop being Muslim and renounce Islam. How do you prove that? Well, I mean, look, if you're converting to another religion, then there's a lot that you can talk about, and probably a lot of documentary evidence you have about that journey, about, going to this other faith and being involved in it. But it's a little bit harder if you don't really change religions, but instead you just, stop being, in this example, Islamic, stop being Muslim and leave the Islamic faith. You need to be ready to talk in detail about your own thought process. That's what they want to know, is they're going to ask you questions about your journey, your evolution, and how you changed your thinking. They're going to start from the time that you were a child, what your life was like, what you thought about religion, what you thought about, faith, how that changed and when it changed and why it changed and what it was like. Basically, they expect you to be fluent about yourself and your own experiences in the way that we would expect someone to be able to talk about, if they had been through this thing. Okay. Same thing for LGBTQ cases. Often it's like, how do you convince the officer that you're gay? It sounds weird. You shouldn't have to do that, but you do to win asylum on that basis. And, maybe you have like photos or text messages or things that, quote unquote look gay, but maybe you don't, and you just have to really be able to talk about your own experience and your journey to that, to like understanding that and dealing, the way that how it affects you in your life. Like you just have to sort of be able to talk about your internal evolution and process and life